You know, it's about time for a major distraction to get our minds off of everything that's going on in the Middle East, gas prices, things that are going on in Congress with the president, so many things. I got a feeling we're about to get something really big to distract us. I believe the speech is coming. I'm telling you, the breadcrumbs are leading to this summer. I think we're going to hear the announcement from Donald J. Trump. We are not alone. All the evidence is pointing in that direction. Let's break it down tonight and talk it out. Come on, let's go. It's the big picture.
In the name of Jesus, you with me? Let's go!
You're watching The Big Picture.
Yeah, y'all with me? Y'all with me? Woo! I tell you what, we're going to talk about that. We are live tonight. I'm going to be checking the live chat as we go through. Man, there's so much stuff to talk about tonight. I got several video clips to show you, some articles that are coming out. But you can feel it. Do you feel it? It feels like something is ramping up. It just feels like there's this imminent announcement coming. And if for anything, it's going to come for a distraction, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the world right now. So much stuff that we're not even talking about a lot of it anymore. I mean, let's just think about it. Nobody's talking about Epstein, which that is designed. Okay. We all know that, they don't want us talking about that. And they didn't even really want it to even come out. Who knows if we'll ever know the truth? Let me just back up. We're never going to know the truth. I think we all know that. But my question is, will we ever get any kind of further release? Who knows? But the people that are ultimately responsible don't ever come to justice, and we all know that. Okay, so nobody's talking about that. When's the last time you heard anybody talking about the war in Ukraine? It's still going on. I mean, every single day, bombs are going off in Ukraine, and people are dying. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about China, and China's doing a lot of things right now, and they're getting ready to supposedly take Taiwan back. I think they're a little nervous right now because of what's going on in the Middle East. We wasn't long ago, we went down there and took out Maduro in Venezuela, and we've taken over the oil down there. When's the last time you heard anything about that? Supposedly, we've got a new regime that was actually loyal to Maduro, but is now supposedly working with us, and now we've secured the largest reserve of oil in the world there. Nobody's talking about that. Well, it's coming out today, and this, as we escalate through this week, it's going up even more and more. More and more people are talking about this. I heard on the radio today, and I also heard Benny Johnson, I believe, was talking about it, that the rumor is in Washington, D.C. Get ready for it. We are planning a potential invasion to take the nation of Cuba. We have been putting a stronghold on them, a stranglehold, if you will. They don't have any electricity. Their main source of income that was propping them up was Venezuela. Now that's gone. China can't help them as much as they used to. So there is rumors going around that we are getting ready to go in and invade and take Cuba. That's next on the list. I don't know, but a lot of people are saying that. Well, there's also talking about that certain men of certain age are going to be automatically enrolled again in the draft. Of course, when I was in school, that's what you had to do anyway. I didn't even know they stopped doing that, but I guess they did. But it's coming back. But, Hegseth, I watched a little bit of his press conference this morning. He says recruitment numbers are at record level. Space Force is leading the way. You remember the one that they mocked President Trump for when he started Space Force? Look, I think all of us agree that Space Force has probably been in place ever since the Reagan administration. We just finally called it something. But it's taking the largest portion of the budget, of the military budget. Can you just let that sink in? The largest portion of the military budget that they have requested this year, by far, is Space Force. Why? What are we doing up there? Why do we need that much money? Okay, people could come back and say war is now being fought in space. We have missiles that go up, the hypersonic missiles go up and out of the atmosphere and come back down, and that's what we're talking about. No. I think it's more than that. And by the way, I don't think Space Force is building a satellite structure to stop Russia. I believe they're looking for something else that's coming. That's in the upper atmosphere, should we say. I believe that we are getting ready for, and by the way, I'm just going down a super list of things that we're being distracted from. Oh, and by the way, there's a massive war going on right now that has become every day more and more unpopular. Iran. Yeah, we have midterms coming up. And then soon as midterms is over with, somebody's going to be anointed the heir apparent to Mr. President Donald J. Trump. It was not long ago believed that it would be J.D. Vance. Well, now people are saying that his star is not shining as much. And then it may be Marco Rubio. Who knows who it's going to be? And then when you start thinking about who the Democrat's going to be. So they're going to need some major distractions. So that's why I believe that my prediction, not prophecy, my prediction is we're going to get an announcement this summer. And they're saying that it may even come as soon as next month, May. This is what we were told in the private briefing that Sandy and I were in Tennessee, that they're hearing that it had got bumped up to May because of special circumstances. But originally it was supposed to be July 8th, which was on the anniversary of Roswell. We have so many movies coming out, and we're going to talk about those tonight too. But we have the Bob Lazar movie, and I don't know has any of you seen the Bob Lazar movie yet? I haven't seen it. We just haven't had time to sit down and watch it, but we're going to watch it pretty soon. It's already available on Amazon. If you have seen it, I would like to know what you think about it. But I have seen Age of Disclosure. Most of you have. That's on Amazon. You have to rent it or buy it. I think it's just about the same price to rent and buy. But it's a documentary, and it's spun as a documentary. And it starts off with Marco Rubio and many others. I think there's 20-something people in a row say, "We are not alone. We are not alone. We are not alone. We are not alone." And then, of course, it just begins to lay out in documentary style the evidence that we have never been alone, and that this has been the biggest conspiracy in the history of the United States of America. And they have been lying to us and distracting us and calling us all conspiracy theorists because we believe in this, thinking we're a bunch of kooks, tinfoil hat wearing kooks. But now all of a sudden, everybody feels comfortable to say, yeah, it's all true. But then you have other distractions. You have people talking about aliens from other planets, but then you have people like Tim Burchett and the others that are coming out, Anna Paulina Luna and Eric Burleson and all these others that are really out front on it. Do you know what they're talking about? I mean, something that we never heard when we were young and in school, and nobody made movies about this, and nobody ever talked about this. They're saying that they are, number one, not interplanetary, but interdimensional. And number two, especially Tim Burchett, he's the main one out front saying that his intelligence is telling him that their bases are not on planets. They are in the deep ocean. I think he said there's like 7 or 8 spots that they know about. I saw this recently on an interview with him. I don't know if I've got that in my interview tonight or not, but 7 or 8 spots that they know about in the deep waters of the deep ocean around the world where they believe that whatever these beings are, that's where they're housed. And they're coming up out of the water and going up into the sky. It is interesting to me that we don't really have any video. Now, of course, if we did, they would probably hide it, but we don't have any video of a craft coming by a satellite and going into our Earth's atmosphere. Every video that we have is in our atmosphere, right? In the sky, in our sky. Well, if they're coming from another planet and we're able to get video there, and think about all the satellites that we got up there. We don't have any images unless they've hid them. I think it's the reason we don't have any images because they're not coming from other planets, but we don't have any. Nobody's ever shown a pretty good image that's believed to be true and not CGI back in the old CGI days, or AI now, of it coming past the satellite, other than maybe you got a couple little videos out there where somebody on the International Space Station sees a little blip or something. That's about it. But we got saucers, we got Tic Tacs, we got all this kind of stuff in our atmosphere. What Tim Burchett and everybody is saying, and people that are leaking things out of Washington, is the reason we don't have those videos of them coming from the second heaven, is what I call it, the cosmos, into our atmosphere, is because they're not from there. The announcement is going to be that they're from here because they've always been here, and that they were here before us, and they've been watching us and maintaining us. Now, they're going to say that they originally came from out there, but for whatever reason, whether they got punished, they got stuck here, or they chose this place, they've been hiding since humanity started populating in the deep ocean. And then they come out, and they go up in the atmosphere, and they go back down in the water. That's the narrative. Wow. You put all that together, then you understand why Jesus said, see that you be not deceived. When the days of Noah come upon us, y'all, guard against deception, because there's going to be a strong delusion that's going to be put on the people, that even those that believe in God, that even believe in Jesus, maybe been raised in church, are going to fall away. Now, let's go back to the movie that came out in November of 25, Age of Disclosure. The producer is Dan Farah. Dan Farah has produced several documentaries, but he's also produced several theatrical releases, dramatic movies, good suspense movies. One of my favorite movies that's out there, just because I like to watch this kind of stuff, is Ready Player One. If you have not seen Ready Player One, I would encourage you to watch it. Now, when I encourage you to watch something, I'm not condoning it. I'm not endorsing it. Don't watch it and you hear a bad word, or you see something bad. Oh, can't believe Pastor Larry recommended that. Listen, do it at your own risk. I'm just saying that there are certain movies, and maybe you have to fast forward through some things and deal with that. If you really want to study what they're trying to tell us, there are certain movies and certain TV shows that are very influential in that narrative. Well, Ready Player One didn't really talk a lot about UFOs and aliens, but it talked about a dystopian world, basically because of what AI did to the world. That is a prediction of what is coming on society one day, that you hear Elon Musk talk about and all this, that one day, very soon, this is really what they're saying, very soon, like 3 to 5 years, this is going to be here, to where most everything we know about regular life is going to be completely turned upside down. And that most people are the only way they're going to survive is to live in a virtual world. And that is what Ready Player One was. Well, why am I telling you about that? It is because Dan Farah produced Ready Player One. But get ready for it. He wasn't the sole producer. He was the co-producer. The other producer was one of his absolute best friends and mentor that has poured into him and taught him how to do this industry, Steven Spielberg. So Steven Spielberg and Dan Farah came together to produce a movie about a world that has been turned upside down by some kind of event that changed everything. So that was a dramatic, a screenplay based on a book series, I think it was. Now you fast forward from their combined effort to Dan Farah given special permission to talk to people in government that no one's ever been given. People sat down with him and said things to him on camera, and was, of course, given permission to say on camera to Dan Farah things that no one had ever been able to record before at that level of guest. Well, he's been on Brett Baer's show before on Fox News. Well, he's coming back. And why is he coming back? Even though his movie's not freshly released, it's been around, but he's beginning to be brought back into the picture. Fox News just released this video today. And this is called The 80-Year Cover-Up. UFO film director says a classified files reckoning is coming. This was released today. A highlight, preview, whatever you can call it, special report with Brett Barry.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in, what is it?
Area 51?
Area 51. There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the President of the United States.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. He made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it. I may get him out of trouble by declassifying.
Well, welcome back to Special Report. No concrete answers there from the presidents yet, but a lot of movement on this issue. The Age of Disclosure is a documentary revealing, it says, an 80-year cover-up of the existence of non-human intelligent life and a secret war amongst major nations to reverse engineer technology of non-human origin. Now available to rent or buy on Prime Video. Let's talk about these latest developments in the search for answers about UFOs, UAPs, and intelligent life not from Earth. Joining us is Dan Farah, director and producer of the documentary The Age of Disclosure. Dan, good to see you again.
Once again, very close friends, if not one of the best friends of Steven Spielberg, student of Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg is his mentor, and they both have a movie within 6 months of each other with the name Disclosure in the title.
And we had you on at the beginning, well before your film was out. Now this topic has moved forward, and arguably the documentary has had a major issue in moving that forward with the president's disclosure order.
Yeah. I think we're at a turning point in human history here, a major turning point in which the truth is finally coming out that humanity is not the only intelligent life in the universe. I think we're entering this age in which the U.S. government will start to reveal all it has learned over the last 80 years about this.
The Disclosure Truth Social came out February 19th. Based on the tremendous interest shown, this is from President Trump, I'll be directing the Secretary of War, other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, and unidentified flying objects, UFOs, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. There's some frustration on...
Let me just stop and say, you've never heard a president say anything like that, ever. Current president or former president. No one's ever went that far to say that. Well, there's a lot of reasons why. One, because I think he's being forced into it because I think it's imminent. Secondly, I believe with all my heart that Donald Trump refuses to let anyone else beat him to the punch. He's not going to leave this announcement for the next president, whoever it is, Democrat or Republican. But more than anything, I think he thinks there's no way. The cat is out of the bag. And I'm telling you right now, there's no way to stop it. It is imminent. That whatever the truth is, we'll never know the truth, but whatever their narrative is, they have decided it's time to tell it. So this is how it's going to go out. He brings Dan Farah back on, who's had the access to these. You need to listen very closely to what he says after this part right here.
Capitol Hill that it hasn't happened faster. You had 34 different officials in this film. Do you hear that too?
Yeah. First off, I'm really proud that the film has played a major role in getting us to this point. I think it led to this national conversation happening at a level it's never happened before, and it led to this presidential directive. Certainly, though, there's pushback to President Trump's directive to declassify this. The folks that have been covering this up and gatekeeping this information, they want to put it back in a box and bury it for another 80 years. They're not looking for the truth to come out. And so leaders in Congress like Rep. Luna and Rep. Burleson and Burchett, Carson, Moskowitz, folks in the Senate like Senator Rounds are helping identify evidence that does exist and sharing it with the president's cabinet so that they can decide what can safely be declassified and shared with the public.
You mentioned Congressman Burchett, and he's talked about it in a couple interviews pretty explicitly. Take a listen.
just tell the American public. It's like I told President Trump, peel back the layers of that onion, let America decide if we can handle it. I think we can handle it. I have some ideas about what it is. I've been briefed on some things, and yeah, they're pretty wild.
Other interviews, he's gone a little bit further, but they're talking about it.
Yeah, certainly. Look, this is the biggest issue of our time, hands down. The stakes are extremely high.
You're going to hear that a lot. What he just said, trust me, is a talking point that he has been released to say. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you're going to start seeing and hearing Republicans, Democrats, liberals, conservatives, all saying this is the most important issue of humanity, in the history of humanity. This is the biggest news article ever. This is what they're going to say. So let's back it up and let's listen to him say that one more time when Brett Baer says, well, they're talking about it, and listen to his response. This is a talking point of UFO disclosure.
A little bit further, but they're talking about it.
Yeah, certainly. Look, this is the biggest issue of our time, hands down. The stakes are extremely high. You know, as the film reveals, there's been an 80-year cover-up of the existence of non-human intelligent life and elements.
And there's no doubt in your mind, like as you have gone through this, and now you've seen the reaction of the film. There's no doubt in your mind.
Yeah. I mean, too many extremely senior members of the military, intelligence community, the government, folks who have had access to classified information about this, they've all been extremely definitive when they say that the evidence exists, that we are not alone in the universe, that there is other intelligent life, and that it has been covered up.
All right, I know I keep stopping this, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to respond to a lot of this stuff tonight. Isn't it interesting that everyone that says absolutely convinced, I've seen the evidence, there's no denying it, 100% it's true, it's coming out, there's no doubt in my mind anymore, other than maybe like Stephen Greer and some others, you don't hear hardly anyone, not saying that's not out there, but you don't hardly hear anyone that has seen the evidence, that has talked to the ones that are going to roll it out, ever say they're from another planet. They just say intelligence, life that is not of this planet, that are not human origin. They're very careful to say that because that's part of the narrative. It's going to be that they've been here longer than us. But they also can't say they're from another planet because there's no evidence of it.
Part of the effort is not only a concern about national security, but also this reverse engineering part of this that Secretary Rubio, others, Senator Rounds have talked about. We have a clip from the documentary.
This is the biggest discovery in human history. It has so many beneficial impacts, including clean energy.
This one breakthrough can be the key to interstellar travel.
We can talk more about teleportation.
How can we use these technologies and all the capabilities that might come from it, not to fight a war, but to increase our standard of living?
It's hard to get your head around all of this, but that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Look, these UAP are displaying flight performance characteristics that we don't have the ability to do currently. The technology being displayed could completely revolutionize the way we live if we can crack it. And so a big part of the drive for disclosure is to bring about this technological progress that could revolutionize the way we live.
Well, it is something to watch, Age of Disclosure, and I've recommended it to a lot of people. I know a lot of people have watched it. It's available
to rent and buy on Prime Video. Yeah.
All right. So you've heard us talk about, Sandy and I, that we were invited to come to a secret meeting. And I know some of you don't like it when I say that because you want to say, why can't you just tell us everything? Well, that's the whole purpose of why we were there. They were to give us information to prepare us for what is coming. But they ask us because of their connections in their current security clearance and their connection with people. They were released to tell us as pastors, they wanted us to prepare our congregations and all of this and just let us know what's coming. And they just ask us not to tell everything. But there are some things that we could say. One of the things that was surprising to me is in this meeting, and these are guys that are connected and are friends with Greer, that are friends with David Grush. What's the guy's name? that picked up the egg that was on News Nation with Russ Cohart. I can't think of his name. Jake, I think his name, think his name is. They talked about he felt the bliss of the feminine God as he went forward to pick up these crashed crafts. They're all friends with them. They're all connected with them. And they're getting information directly from them. So while they're telling us all this stuff, and they've seen every video that's ever been made public, and they've seen videos that have not been made public, and they started asking us in the room, name me something that you've seen. Name me a video. Every video that we pointed out that we've seen that's been leaked. Do you know what they said? They said that's ours, or that's human. That's reversed engineering technology. Basically, they went on to say that somewhere between 80 to 90% of every video that's ever been released of a UAP or UFO has been reversed engineering technology that are a part of the military complex, the industry, that they have got this technology, this anti-gravity technology, all this stuff, and many of them are not manned. Some of them are. But he said that most everything can be explained as something that we have reverse engineered. But these guys said, but there's 10% that we can't. And these are the things that have got everyone concerned, because these are the ones that have not given permission to have that particular technology. Now, that's just what we were told. And so don't want to bust people's bubble of saying, well, I saw that particular video and I know it's a UFO. Maybe it was, but I'm just telling you, there's a lot of deception at play here. And of course, there are many people that believe that we are getting ready for, and I believe Stephen Greer is one of them, and even those that don't agree with him, even the ones that believe that they're demonic. What is the guy's name? I need Sandy in here for this. But the first season of X-Files was based on his life. Maybe some of you can remember who I'm talking about, but he was connected with the FBI and so forth, and basically the X-Files was based on his life. He's also one of the ones that are saying that they're getting ready for a false alien invasion. That it's planned. Part of the rollout is they're going to tell us this. When they tell us this, then then all of a sudden this reverse technology that looks just like a UFO or an alien, everybody's going to be panicked because they heard officially from the president that we're not alone. And then there's a commercial aircraft is going to be shot out of the sky by one of these UFOs. And yeah. So, and then of course that's going to create permission for this industrial military to just go through the roof. And then of course it's going to create atmospheres of greater control. That's what it's all about. It's a beast system. It's in the Bible. Okay, this is what's coming. There has to be a major cataclysmic event to desire for the whole world to follow a peace plan. Now, my good friend L.A. Marzulli always says he's got a gut feeling that there's going to be some type of nuclear explosion that is going to usher in, will be the reason why they show up. And they will show up to try to stop us from eliminating Elizondo. I don't think it's Elizondo, but that's what's coming. Now I want to tell you about this lady here. I just recently found her channel, and I really, if you want to get into this topic, she has a great channel. Her name is Christina Gomez. I would definitely encourage you to watch her, but take everything with a grain of salt. But let's just listen to some of the things that she has to say here about what some of these congressmen are actually saying.
A sitting congressman went on record calling for 2 separate congressional hearings, one on UAP video releases and one on the pattern of missing and dead scientists that we actually covered yesterday. The Pentagon's response to all of it? Nothing but crickets. Meanwhile, Steven Spielberg walked onto a stage in Las Vegas and showed a live audience something incredible. And a team of scientists just proposed a method for finding life in the universe that doesn't require knowing what life actually looks like. Hey ufologists, I'm Christy Skavich, Democrat from Florida and member of the Congressional UAP caucus, spoke with Matt Laszlo of Ask a Poll after a floor vote. When asked whether there is any real sign of movement pertaining to UFOs from the White House, he said this.
Well, I mean, some of my colleagues have been talking to the White House and feel encouraged that we might see some sort of release coming out.
Members of Congress with direct White House contact are describing encouragement, and that is the strongest signal yet from inside the building. Set that against what the Pentagon actually delivered after Luna's missing deadline, well, it's a different story. A War Department official released a statement saying Aero is working in close coordination with the White House to release never-before-seen UAP material. And the problem is that statement is word for word what the Pentagon said back in February when Hegseth first publicly addressed this at his Arsenal of Freedom tour. War Department Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson issued the same language then, and just recently it appeared again. No timeline, no videos, no direct response to Luna's letter, and Jared addressed that.
Well, now Pentagon's saying they're going to go through Aero. Does that make you a little dubious?
Listen, I think the Pentagon's going to try to find every excuse not to release more information. The American people know there's stuff being hidden from them on these UAPs.
Yeah.
And then he went even further. He asked for congressional hearings on two fronts: the 46 plus UAP videos that remain undelivered, and on the scientists. He was asked directly whether he wants an investigation.
Do you want to see investigation into that? The Los Alamos scientists?
I think Luna should probably hold a hearing on that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think she will. But if the Pentagon doesn't release this stuff in compliance with Representative Luna's letter, then I think ultimately we're going to have a hearing on that as well.
Two hearings are now on the table. On the same day, the Pentagon responded with a recycled February statement. Jared's position is very clear on this, and I think it is for all of us. Either the Pentagon delivers or Congress holds hearings on both fronts. The question is, would you tune into those congressional hearings?
I think a lot of people would tune into those congressional hearings, but this is one of the few issues that is out there that is really, truly bipartisan. I mean, you have equal number of Democrats and Republicans both saying the same thing. Tell us the truth. Tell us the truth. Tell us the truth. Now, is the motivation they really want the truth, or has the system, and we do know that the Republicans and the Democrats are all in the same system. Come on, we all know that. They're all working for the same system. Somebody's given the permission. Somebody's flipped a switch on. Somebody has said, okay, it's time to start rolling this out. Okay, so that was a Democrat there asking for that. And, of course, this is Will Cain asking the legendary, I mean, I want to meet him one day. I think I'm going to get a chance to meet him. That's what I've been told. Tim Burchett. Dadgummit Tim Burchett. That's what he's known as. Dadgummit Tim Burchett. He loves saying dadgummit. So this is when he was asked, he's been asked this repeatedly, but I just want to show this clip here. It's pretty interesting.
If I asked you, put a percentage on it, that we have made contacts with aliens, what your certainty would be at what percentage?
100%.
100%. You've seen things, we'll call them whatever they call them, UAPs, UFOs, whatever. And what you just told me is they're cutting on a dime, they're turning, they're doing things that the human body couldn't withstand with G-force. Which, by the way, you could also wonder, is there a human being or any being in that? We are developing drone technology, presumably so are the Chinese and everybody else, that would have things that it can do that the human body wouldn't withstand. What about the stuff I've seen about like going in and out of water? Down, up, in and out, all that stuff.
So Tim Burchett is the main one that started talking about this. He's going to say again right now what he said on many different podcasts, that interesting enough, after all these years of us looking up at the stars, we're being told that all along they've been in the ocean.
Yeah, those are the Tic Tac videos. I know the pilots, one of the pilots that was involved in that. Yeah, they had no, they showed no heat signature. Yeah, an admiral met in my office, and you can see that door right there. That's the side door. He left by that door, which was kind of odd. And the last thing he told me was, "Tim, they're real." But he discussed a situation where they had tracked on sonar something under the water that was big as a football field, doing over 200 miles an hour. And we don't have anything that'll probably crack 40 miles an hour. And this is something operating in some of these deep water areas, and that's where they see there's a higher propensity of these orbs and discs or whatever. But that one was as a documented case. So I've heard the audio from the pilots talking about it. And I mean, these things, their capability, they hover some of them had hovered for hours. And, we don't have anything with the fuel to do that. Nothing's refueling it. And then all of a sudden it just goes, shoots straight up. And the power to do that, one of the pilots, these pilots, they always show them as cowboys on television shows, but generally they're kind of eggheads. They're very mathematically in tune. And, the amount of energy to do that was phenomenal. It would you could power Los Angeles. I mean, literally.
Wow.
And the one thing about drones is, though, they can't be our drones, and I'll tell you why. Because we would not put American military fighting men and women in our own harm's way. We would not risk a half $500 million airplane and a person's life. And we saw what we spent just to get one pilot out of Iran. We're not going to risk that. That's not ours. We've got too many, I guess, more or less documented cases of where we've had to call off operations, I'll say, because of these objects are spotted, these pilots. And the problem you got with the pilots is that when they report it, they end up having to go get a psych evaluation, and they get a blemish on their record. So of course they're not going to report all this stuff that's going on. And not every one of them seeing it. There are certain areas, these deep water, there's about 5 deep water areas in the world that we know of. And we're seeing a lot of it out there. Whatever that is, I don't know. I mean, I can draw my own conclusions.
So, and your argument is that it won't.
I'm going to play just a little bit more of this, but interesting. I mean, let me know in the comments what you think about the narrative shifting to the ocean.
It won't be drones from the Chinese or the Russians or anybody, because they'd be dominating us if they had that technology. That's where you started today.
Russia wouldn't be bogged down in Ukraine, and China would just control the world, which some would question whether they do or not now. But they don't. Nobody has that kind of technology.
So when I think you said Air Force General walked out of your office and he said, "Tim, they're real." What was he talking about?
He was an admiral.
The objects. Admiral. Okay, Admiral. What was he talking about? The objects are real or aliens are real?
Aliens.
Tim Burchett from Tennessee, in that one interview, was asked from 0 to 100%, where are you in believing that these things, these beings, these aliens, whatever they are, I know what they are. I got a good feeling what they are. But I'm saying he asked him, 0 to 100%, are they real or not? 100%, he said. Then as the admiral, who is obviously connected very well in this whole scenario here and have seen certain things, walking out of that door in the background where he pointed to, they're real, Tim. Well, what was he talking about? Will Kane asked him. Aliens. Y'all, think about how long we went in all of our lifetime, depending on how old you are, where if anyone would have got on any program, especially someone that is a congressman, someone from the military, and said what these people are saying, what would have happened to them? They would have been laughed out of the room. They would have been canceled in cancel culture. They would have lost everything. Why all of a sudden in the last few years was the whistleblower law even finally approved? Why did they all of a sudden have protections to make these announcements and to say these things on such a level that they're saying? Everybody that watches the big picture, you know better. You know these people do not get to say whatever they want to say. They say what they've been given permission to say. Even if they're a whistleblower and they've got the whistleblower protection. When David Grush was sitting there in that room and he was protected under the new whistleblower law, how many times did you hear him say, I cannot say that, Congressman, now, but I would be glad to tell you how I feel about that in the skiff. In other words, I'll tell you more, but I can't tell everyone more, but I can tell you more. And where did they usually draw the line? You go back and watch it. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched a lot of highlights of that hearing when Grush was there and he was talking about the non-human biologics that we possess, the bodies basically that we possess, the crafts that we possess. Where they drew the line is when they would ask them the question, what are they? Where are they from? What are they? they would wait to get into the skiff. Well, they get in the skiff, and guess what they would tell them in the skiff? Because we know this is what they told them in the skiff, because Luna came out, Burleson came out, several others came out, all saying the same thing. Just come out of the skiff. And they told us that these are interdimensional. They did not call them interplanetary. They called them interdimensional. Now, when you play into interdimensional, you're talking about time travel. Some people believe that means time travel. Galactic. I mean, what do they call that? Where they're just pew. Look, in Star Wars, they put the force on, and also pew, they'd go through universes. Well, we've always known you'd have to have that to, traverse that huge of a span of space to go between universes. Okay. But, that's probably not what we're talking about. They're going to try to tell us they have the ability to go through portals and just jump from dimension to dimension. That's one of the narratives that's going to come out. They keep saying interdimensional. Well, interdimensional is a secular word for what we know it really means. Spiritual. This is from the spirit realm. There are two different dimensions, if you want to call it that, but we call it two different realms. There is the earthly realm, where we are at right now, and the spirit realm. But guess what? Here's the thing. We're in the earthly realm, but the spirit realm is around us. And the spirit realm goes beyond us. It is here. There are things that are in the spirit realm that are here around us in the spirit realm. But then there is the second heaven, which is the cosmos. And then there's the third heaven, which is in the place where God is. But the in-between there is whatever's up there, the space between there, where these demons, these fallen angels operate and have access. They have access to us as well. Now they can rule and reign, not rule and reign, but they can do whatever they want to do pretty much with the limitations that God has given them in that second realm. When they come down here, they are bound in some ways. They're limited because we're the ones that was given dominion. Y'all, that's why I wrote this book. Some of you have already got this book, and I'm getting testimonies that it is equipping. I saw somebody earlier saying, all of this that you're talking about tonight makes so much more sense after I read your book. The Final Flood. The Final Flood. It's changing lives, y'all. I'm giving God the praise. I'm not bragging on myself. I'm just thanking God for it. And all you got to do is go to Amazon and search for The Final Flood, Larry Ragland, and you'll see it. There it is. It's a #1 bestseller. I'm so thankful. At this time right now, we got over 100 5-star ratings. That's because of you. More and more is coming in. It takes 24 up to 72 hours before some of your will come in. But y'all, thank you. It is changing lives. I'm seeing people making videos, talking about how they've highlighted it, how they've given it to their pastor. I've got a couple people saying that their pastor was not open to it, but he started reading this book and he starts seeing that all this is in Scripture. And now their pastors are saying, "Okay, I'm open to this. I need to know this kind of stuff." So I'm just encouraged. That's why I talk about the things that I'm not infatuated with UFOs. I'm not infatuated with aliens. I'm infatuated with God. I'm infatuated with spiritual authority. But the Word of God is what's the most important right here. See this? That's the Bible. And the Word of God says in Matthew chapter 24, see that you are not deceived. There is going to be a deception that's going to come in the last days that's going to absolutely replicate the days of Noah. And that's what we're experiencing right now. And that's what this is all about. So now we have very key people. And think about all the things that they're tied to. Scientists that are tied to nuclear weapons, nuclear energy, people that have worked in their former career, now they're in other careers, CERN. We have people that they were the overseers in the military of certain military bases that supposedly, I put in air quotes, house many of these crafts that have been crashed, and they've been keeping them and studying them, and beings are coming up missing. I think there's over 10 very key scientists and generals and people in the military that have come up missing. We're going to go back to Christina Gomez, and she's going to talk a little bit more about that. And then we're going to get a direct response about this today from Donald Trump.
Let's start with the newest missing case. Government contractor Stephen Garcia, age 48. Journalist Lauren Conlin has been tracking every one of these cases, and she broke this one down on News Nation this week.
Stephen Garcia, I mean, he had a top security clearance at KCNSC.
Is that per a source, though? A source said that.
This is per a source.
Okay.
Yes, per a source that was close to Garcia. But look, where he worked at KCNSC, I mean, they manufacture 80% of non-nuclear components that go into building military nuclear weapons. And I mean, he oversaw tens of millions of dollars of assets, equipment, some classified, some not.
Garcia walked out of his Albuquerque home on August 28, 2025, carrying only a handgun. He left his phone, his car, his wallet, and his keys behind. A source close to the case told the Daily Mail he showed no signs of distress and that a foreign intelligence operation, quote, makes the most sense. He has not since been seen, and he is the 10th name on a list that has been growing steadily since mid-2023. 4 of these individuals disappeared from New Mexico on foot, leaving behind.
Look at this. 10 scientists who died or disappeared. Deceased. NASA, Caltech, which is the Science and Data Center. Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. Of course, that was a big deal in the news. I think he was murdered openly. Let's see. Missing. We have General McCaslin that we've talked about here. That's one of the biggest ones. You know, he's U.S. Air Force, retired Air Force, and he was directly in charge of overseeing the protection of, hypothetically here, theoretically, what's coming out, the rumor of many of these crafts. Los Alamos National Laboratory. There's another one, Los Alamos National Laboratory. We got Aerojet, Rocketdyne, Novartis, which is a chemical biology. Then we've got National Security Campus, NSC. These are major people. They're all tied to, you know, very deep secrets. And what we said earlier is L.A. Marzulli and many others have said that this disclosure is going to be tied to something nuclear happening as well. And how interesting it is that at the center of this whole war that's going on in Iran is the word nuclear.
Behind everything. 3 connect directly through the Kirtland Air Force Base, the Kansas City National Security Campus, and Los Alamos. Former FBI Assistant Director Chris Swecker said this week that U.S. scientists have been targeted by hostile foreign intelligence services for years, and that he believes some have been eliminated. However, no official agency has confirmed any connection between any of these cases, but the pattern is being discussed right now at the congressional level. It's pretty freaky, but now let's get on to.
So today, the president made a response. So he's getting ready to get on the helicopter, and you know he'll always stop and have a press gaggle. And so let's listen to. I believe this might be Peter Ducey. I always say Ducey. Is it Ducey or Ducey? I can't remember. But let's listen to him. Here we go.
10 missing scientists with access to classified stuff, nuclear material, aerospace. They've all gone missing or turned up dead in the last couple months. Based on what you've been briefed, what do you think is happening here? And do you think that this is connected or totally random?
All right, so you were not expecting what he's about to say. So the question was, I don't know how good you could hear it. He lays out the 10 scientists that we just covered. What are you hearing? I think everybody there was expecting him to say, yeah, we're looking into it. This is what he said.
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff. But we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it. But some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short period.
10.
So he literally responds to that question by saying, yeah, we're going to know in the next week or week and a half a little bit more about these 10 people. I just left a meeting about those 10 people. Well, why would you talk to the president of the United States about people go missing all the time? And I know these are high profile people, but high profile people go missing all the time. But you have somebody on the inside of the administration that is saying, look, we don't even know what is happening to these people. That's what it sounds like he's saying. They're coming to the president saying, we need to talk about people that we need and what we're getting ready to disclose. Think about this. It's Gospel According to Larry here. I got this feeling that some of these people that are missing were probably being groomed to be some of the experts that were going to be called on once this rollout of disclosure happens to bring forth evidence to support the narrative that we are not alone. Just my opinion. Allegedly. Very interesting that they be just one by one, they go missing. They have no history of dementia or whatever, but it makes it look like they just wander off like somebody with Alzheimer's. They leave their phone. They leave their wallet. And most of them only carry a weapon. Well, you can put two and two together and figure out why they probably got a weapon. It's either one of two reasons. They feel like that they need to get away from their family, to keep their family safe, and they need something to protect themselves, or they're going to use it for another reason. Then your mind goes to MK Ultra. Your mind goes to, are they turned off and turned on? Just the switch is flipped. You got to get out. Get out now. Don't say bye to your wife. Don't say bye to your children. Leave. Somebody higher up saying, no. They cannot talk. What is your opinion? This is my theory. This is just my theory. And when you start thinking about it, it just sort of makes sense. If this announcement is coming and it's imminent, and some of these high-level people who have seen these things, worked with the crafts or whatever these beings are, they're getting ready, they're being prepped, and all of a sudden, the men in black. Y'all watch the X-Files. Do you understand? This is crazy that me and Sandy had never watched a single episode of the X-Files until like just a few months ago. Now I'm still, I don't have time to watch, as she's been watching some stuff and she don't have much time either, but she's a little further ahead of me. We've watched a couple of seasons. She's watched, I think, into the third season or something. Dude, some of y'all watch that show and watch the whole thing. That's insane, the stuff that they tell you in that show. I mean, it is literally like every week is a documentary. They've been telling this stuff was coming. And in that show, there's this dark cabal that meets it's the typical. They're all in there smoking cigars, smoke-filled rooms. They're making decisions on who gets to live and who gets to die, who gets to tell this, and how are we going to reveal this to them? And no, we can only reveal so much. God, I just watch it and I just think I'm beginning to just be that guy, y'all. I just that's it. That's how it is. So then I start thinking about these people in real life that are going missing. And it's paralleling this show. It's paralleling some other shows too, that you're seeing the people get to decide, okay, yeah, we're going to let you talk. And we told you not to talk, but looks like you're still going to talk. So guess what? You don't know it, but we got stuff in your brain that we put in your brain a long time ago for this moment. All right? Turn them off. Walk out the door, you never see them again. Y'all, this is the real world. There is a war going on in the spirit realm. There is evil that is trying to wipe out the image bearers. That's us. There again, whole chapter about hijacked identity. It's all about trying to attack those that were created in the image of God. And if you can bring a narrative to all of us and roll it out that we were seated here by some kind of alien beings, this is assault against God. Now, here's something interesting. They just had something called CinemaCon. And it's been around, I don't know how many years. Steven Spielberg has never gone to it. And this is a convention about movies. This is probably the greatest, most well-known, most prominent movie producer of all time, especially of mega hits. He's never gone to this convention until this year. He showed up. Everyone was shocked. He had been invited. They had begged him to come. He had avoided it. But he comes to this one to promote his movie Disclosure Day. This was this week. Now, you can't, for copyright reasons, I have not seen it. No one's leaking it. They're very, very militant with their lawyers on this. If you go there, you have to sign all these agreements and all this. They showed a 5-minute clip. Everybody could come out and talk about it, but they couldn't show the video. Everybody is saying that was in there that they showed a 5-minute extended clip of the movie in addition to the content that we've seen in the trailers. And they reveal the alien in it. And people are trying to describe what the alien looks like. Most people are describing the alien that is in the movie Disclosure Day to look like the praying mantis type alien. That's more of a mantis type instead of the lizard. It's more of a mantis. And this is what's being leaked as well, is that when you see Emily Blunt, who's playing the weather lady in the trailer, and we're going to play the trailer in just a second, in just a couple of minutes, we're going to go out with that. She goes, all this, well, she starts clicking. Of course, that's the language of the aliens. Well, it is revealed that in this 5-minute clip that the guy that's the star of the movie that can understand that language and Emily Blunt, they did not know it because their memories were erased, were both abducted as children. And this is the words that is used at Comic-Con. I mean, not Comic-Con, CinemaCon. That these beings had the ability, listen, I couldn't believe they used this word, to possess those that they had abducted. In other words, there was access given to them to come inside of her body. So it is what we theorized. When she goes from talking in English to clicking, she is being possessed. These beings are coming in her. Something was done to her. What they're saying in this movie, I haven't seen the movie, obviously, but these people that saw this clip are saying something was done to her at abduction that gave them permission to come and go at will inside of her. And they want to tell this message to the world, so they choose the ones that they possess to tell the world. And he came to his first conference ever. And this is what he said also. And this I'm paraphrasing, but you can find it. I promise you this is pretty close to what he said. He said this: in my movie, it is a movie and it is a dramatic presentation with dramatic license. But he openly says at this CinemaCon, there will be more truth about what I know about aliens from all of my career and the people that I've talked to in this movie than any movie that's ever been made. He basically said what Sandy and I have said on this program. This is going to be a blockbuster movie, but it's going to be a documentary of his narrative. Maybe not of the truth, but of his narrative. The only way that you're going to be able to oppose that narrative is you're going to need to know this narrative. I promise you, you need to get back in the Bible again. You may need to get into the Bible for the first time ever. When you start reading it, you read Genesis 6, you read the story of creation, you read through all the wars. Once you, look, this is not another gospel. This is no addition to the gospel. This is just a commentary. This is my breakdown of things. But I'm telling you, some of the things that I show you in this book, The Final Flood, when you go back and look at the wars that happened in the Old Testament, when you thought God was a mean God and all this, those kind of things will begin to make sense to you because you'll have a greater understanding of why that had to happen because of what the agenda of the enemy has always been. And do you think he's not going to save his biggest attack for the end? Of course he is. That's why it's called the final flood. But the good news is, so is God. God's got a remnant. The Noah generation is right in the middle. The ones that are watching this program, the ones that are at least open-minded to say, okay, listen, I don't know if I believe in God yet. I don't know if I want to go to church. I don't know if I want to have a pastor, but I believe there's evil in the world. I believe there's some kind of force in the world. I need to understand what that force is. I need to get a better understanding of the spirit realm instead of going to TikTok and witch talk and going to some seance somewhere and trying to talk to somebody that's dead. You might need to get a biblical worldview. You might need to look at the world through a biblical lens. Because this is what they're getting ready to tell the world. I promise you, Donald Trump's announcement is going to come probably after this movie, which is going to be, I think, on June 12th. The world will be ready because this movie is going to get them ready. And I will have to stop it a few times, hoping that I don't get flagged for copyright, but I'm going to try my best.
Hello, Jane. Please. Have a seat.
Now, understand this has also been revealed. This guy that just said, have a seat, he is a part of the cabal. He is a part of this global organization that is outside of any government. And he is a part of the ones that have been keeping the secret. Now, he cannot keep it any longer. So the wild thing is that he already has the ability, probably given to him in the movie by the aliens. He's sitting in a lab, hooked up to wires, and he's talking to her, and it looks like he's in the same room with her, but he's not.
Good morning, Kansas City.
So notice what he did. He has this thing in his hands, and when he turns his hand, she turns her hand. And there's a scene where he goes like this, and then she claps. So we're seeing all through this movie, there is possession. There is taking over human bodies.
Let's take a look at today.
We're interrupting our coverage. There has been a threat to publicly release government material long shrouded in secrecy.
What did you steal?
Secrets.
Did you notice she was like, today is disclosure day. Today is the day that we reveal ourselves to be God. Today is the day that we reveal ourselves to be your creator. I'm taking over the airways. We're taking over everything because we've got to save you because you're going to turn on yourself if we don't.
The data they paid me to protect.
Are they people?
No.
Are they people? No. Dude, the trailer enough will give you chills. And I know some of you are saying, I can't go watch this. I can't go watch it. Well, I'll go watch it for you. I'll be pleading the blood of Jesus before I go in and when I come out.
If you found out we weren't alone.
Taking over the animals. Go back and watch the movie Leave the World Behind on Netflix. Same exact thing happened. But it was not aliens. It was a EMP that happened, some cataclysmic event that happened. But the animals, especially the deer, there's some kind of pattern there, would come out of the woods and was standing there and staring at them. Same exact thing. And by the way, it always involves children too. Children. And one of the key features, stars in this movie is a child. There's always a child that it tries to take over.
If someone showed you proof.
See the mockery of the crucifix. So there is a huge religious tone to this movie as well, where the religious leaders begin to say, I'm open to this, because what kind of God would create all the vastness of the beauty of the universe and all the multiple galaxies that are out there, and we would be so full of ourselves to think that we're the only ones that are special?
It to you. Would that frighten you?
Also, it's making you understand this is a global event. Everyone stops everything and is watching this. You would never get the world to stop and hear somebody preach the gospel. You would never get the world to stop and watch this show or any show like this or any kind of show of any kind. But they're saying this event, when it happens, the whole world, it's bigger than the Super Bowl, the whole world will be watching.
Do you understand what she's saying?
I hear it. It's gibberish. I can't understand it.
And I can.
Do you think there could be others?
People have a right to know the truth.
What are you going to do?
What's this? Do you see the woman? This is one of the craziest scenes right here. When you see the woman, watch the woman, because you'll miss it.
People have a right to know the truth.
What are you going to do?
Full disclosure to the whole world, all at once. I'm a part of it now. I'm just sorry they made you a part of it too.
What's happening to me?
People are starved for the truth.
If you do this, there's no undoing it.
This 79-year terror campaign.
Look at this. July 7th, that's when Roswell crashed. July 8th is when the government made their statement. There's a scene in the movie. Obviously, they pull back a black and white video of Roswell. Look, Roswell, New Mexico, July 7th, roll 18, 509th BG/RAAF, whatever that means. And then it says number 5 occupant. So in the movie, they're going to play into Roswell, obviously, and they're going to show a being that they've had in their possession since Roswell. Y'all, this is a movie like no other movie that's ever been made. This is a planned rollout movie.
Of lies has to end.
That truth will upend all established order across the entire world. If you do this, there's no undoing it.
Why would he make such a vast universe, yet save it only for us? Why would they do this?
When the time is right, everything will become clear.
The child. But look at this scene. You talk about a mockery of God. This is a mockery of God. This is the famous God and Adam, Michelangelo painting, where God's hand is almost touching man. That's what this is. And notice whose hand is above. It begins to morph. It's a child, but in a previous trailer, you can see its fingers growing. It's becoming this child. This is a direct replica or mockery of that image that was painted, Michelangelo, I believe it was.
What happens?
Don't you let go. There will be no other day like tomorrow.
He says, there'll be no other day like tomorrow. Dude, it's going to be an amazing movie. It's going to probably make a lot of money, but that ain't why it was made. It was not made for that purpose. It was made to scare people to death. Some of you are scared tonight, but I want to remind you, I don't do these shows to scare you. I do these shows to wake you up. I'm telling you, I get chills when I watch these kind of things, but it ain't because of necessary fear. It's more of awe. Awe that God chose us to see this. And I'm just not going to be fascinated by the story. Yeah, it's going to be intriguing. It's going to be interesting. But I'm praying every day, and I'm praying for you, and I'm praying for myself too, because I'm human. I'm human. I understand that. I can be tricked myself, just like anybody. And I'm saying, God, give me the spirit, the discerning of spirits. Give me the gift of discerning of spirits. So the Lord, there's a story in the Bible. It's one of my favorite stories. Elisha's in the tent sleeping. His assistant, I believe his name's Gehazi, he's outside. He goes outside the tent and he sees the Syrian army are coming after the prophet. The whole mountain, the valley is full of Assyrian soldiers, chariots, horses. They've got their armor on. They've got their swords drawn, and they're screaming for Elisha to come out. And it's just them two. And he goes inside the tent. He says, we're done. The Syrian army has us outnumbered. They are coming after you. Why are you not afraid? And the prophet says, God, show him. Open his eyes. Go back outside, son. Tell me what you see. This is in your Bible. He goes back out there, and the Lord opens his eyes to the spirit realm. And he sees the mountains and the valleys and all around the tent is filled with angels, warring angels with swords of fire, horses that are on fire, chariots that are on fire. And he realizes there are more for us than are against us. Remember, the Bible says only 1/3 of the angels fell, so 2/3 didn't. So it's 2/3 of good angels up there fighting the 1/3 that are bad. And the demons are subject to the name of Jesus. So I encourage you that if you don't know Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, you better cry out to him right now. Get your heart right with God. You ain't got to be perfect. Just start. Just get saved and get ready and get in the Bible. Get in the Word of God and start getting equipped for these last days. And also, get a copy of this, The Final Flood. Go to thefinalflood.com. If you've read it, go give me a review, share it, send it to somebody, tell somebody about it. We're getting the body of Christ ready. Did y'all enjoy it tonight? I hope you enjoyed it. Got to go. We ain't woke. Certainly are awake. See you next time on The Big Picture. We love you. Much love from the Ragland. God bless.
Big Picture family. We're on a mission to wake up the world to what is really going on. Go to LarryRagland.com to give a one-time gift or become a monthly partner. Any amount blesses the entire Big Picture family. While you're there, pick up our book, I See Greatness in You. Browse our merchandise store, connect on social media, and get on the Big Picture mailing list at LarryRagland.com. Join us and be a part of the Big Picture family, where we ain't woke, but we are certainly awake.